And why are you coming out on the internet defensive? You were the last person with.
Child, the Braxton streets are on fire again. And this time it's a three-way circus no one was ready for. So boom, Tamar Braxton had everybody gagged last week when she jumped on the gram claiming she woke up drowning in her own blood. 4. Teeth gone. Nose smashed. The full horror package. She spun it like a whole Lifetime script. Fans started praying, bloggers lost control, and their comments turned into a non-stop digital revival tent. But while the Tamarians panicked, every spotlight swerved to one messy name, Funky Dineva. Why? Because he was the last man caught with her before the chaos blew up. And listen, Funky is never allergic to scandal. Sis built an empire off messy reads, and I said what I said. But the minute the heat landed on him instead of Tamar, he slipped straight into defense attorney cosplay. On live, he kept calling Tamar the lady like they weren't clinking glasses just hours before. He rattled off a full-blown alibi. Ruth's Chris, V12 nightclub, car service, drop off, then boom home with smothered pork chops. The breakdown sounded less like worry for a friend and more like an audition for Law and Order. And that's exactly when the side eye shifted straight to Tasha K. Y'all already know Tasha K has a whole messy history with Funky Dineva. They've gone toe-to-toe before, and sis never passes up a chance to brand him a bitter, jealous man who can't handle black women shining brighter than him. So the second Tamar's bloody story hit the blogs and Funky came off looking ice cold, baby. Tasha pounced. She basically hollered, "This is the Funky I know, the one y'all never see. Forever hating, forever salty, forever twisting into the victim." And honestly, the receipts fit the vibe. Folks dragged up old clips of Funky looking sour anytime. Tamar got celebrated, and suddenly Tasha's rant started sounding less like shade and more like gospel. Here's the gag. Tamar still hasn't cleared the smoke. She dropped a dramatic pose, vanished, and left Funky dangling in the wind. That silence made people wonder if maybe, just maybe, Tasha's right for riding with Tamar on this one. So now we're in a full triangle: Tamar the wounded star begging for prayers, Funky the friend spitting more like a defense lawyer than a supporter, and Tasha the wild card dragging him by the wig cap in real time. It's messy, it's layered, and child, it's on the verge of exploding. Because in this industry, messy friends always expose themselves, and this time Funky just might have gift wrapped Tamar and Tasha the scissors.
He was so unhappy in the video because he's such a hater. He's such an envious person. He got so mad when Tamar got all the attention. This is the same way he treated me when I had to facilitate that wedding and I was the hired host. He walked around with his lip poked out and rolling his eyes every time Tasha K hits a room because he can't stand women's, especially black women.
Now, baby, let's drag Funky Dineva's mouthpiece, because that's what spun this circus from sympathy to full-on suspicion. Instead of standing tall like, "That's my friend, y'all pray for her," Funky hopped on live and served us a courtroom alibi. And child, the way he laid it out, it felt less like concern for Tamar and more like, "Lemma build my defense before the blogs to me alive." First red flag, he kept calling her the lady. Not Tamar, not my sis, not my girl, just the lady on repeat. I don't know what happened to the lady. The lady texted me. The lady said she lost for teeth. Now, tell me this: if you and your so-called bestie were just clinking glasses for her birthday the night before, why you suddenly talking like she's a random stranger at Publix? That alone had fans side-eyeing like, something smells off. And then came the forensic timeline. Funky rattled off his night down to the fork. Ruth's Chris for dinner, V12 nightclub, loud entrance, car service, dropped Tamar off, then slid to BJ Roosters before heading home to smothered pork chops and cabbage. He mapped it out like the cops handed him a Bible for a sworn statement. Nobody had even pointed a finger at him yet, but Funky Dineva was already 10 steps deep into an alibi. And child, when you start defending yourself before anyone even asks, the internet is gonna roast you for looking guilty. And let's not forget Tamar posted she nearly died, waking up in a pool of blood. That's not petty tea, that's life or death. But instead of empathy, Funky's first instinct was saving face. It was giving Lemma clear me before I even care about she. That's why folks said his vibe was off. Even Tasha K chimed in saying, if you really her friend, your first words wouldn't be excuses, they'd be concern. And then it got even messier. Funky admitted Tamar texted him the next morning asking for Dr. Heavenly's number. When he checked in, she told him she was missing for teeth. Gone. And what was his big reaction? Not, "Oh my god, sis, are you okay?" But confusion like, "So, you just woke up and your teeth were gone." Cold, detached, self-absorbed. That energy lit Tasha K up. She swore this was the real funky Dineva she'd been warning us about. Jealous, envious, and allergic to black women stealing the spotlight. So when Tamar's tragedy hit, instead of lifting her, Funky allegedly lifted himself. Fans started whispering. Did he truly not know, or did he just not care? That's the gag. Funky's first words exposed more about him than about Tamar. And child, that's exactly why Tasha K and Tamar got their receipts cocked and loaded.
I'm willing to think, hypothetically, let's just, he stay on the edible. He stay drinking, and he stay on the edible. And that lady was out partying with you. Now, your tolerance is obviously a lot higher. I'm inclined to think he went to Colombia on the black market and got a liver transplant. Because as much as this man drank and do and all the other things and edibles, that's why he had to come out and say, I'm not high, but I am on an edible.
Been riding so hard for Tamar in this chaos ain't about sisterly love, it's way nastier. Nope. It cuts deeper. Tasha K and Funky Dineva been trapped in a silent war for years, and Tamar's drama just dumped gasoline on an old fire. Their feud is practically folklore in the gossip alleys. Funky once snapped in a full-blown tirade, dragging Tasha with every insult in the messy dictionary, even threatening to slap her down and tossing her husband's name in the dirt. That wasn't witty shade, child, that was Funky's fragile ego combusting in real time. And if you know Funky, you know he can't keep a secret. He'll spill his own mess before anyone else does. Tasha being Tasha, she didn't sidestep the smoke. She clipped that meltdown, plastered it on her platforms, and told her followers exactly how she felt. She swore Funky couldn't stomach seeing a black woman glow brighter than him. In her words, his so-called reads were fueled by envy, not sharpness. And every single time he rolled his eyes when the spotlight drifted off him, sis called it proof. Tasha claimed Funky's issue was never personal beef, it was his obsession with the shine. It was women like her, bold, loud, and unapologetically front and center. Fast forward to now, Tamar drops her dramatic claims. Funky hops online, hiding behind that icy the lady lingo, and the blogs eat it alive. To the public, it looked shady, but to Tasha K, it looked like déjà vu. She's been screaming for years that Funky can't genuinely uplift anyone else, that his whole brand is being the messiest body in the room. Seeing Tamar dragged while Funky ducked accountability, that was history repeating itself. That's why Tasha stormed in heavy, not just as Tamar's ally, but as a woman holding receipts. She didn't need to insert herself into this circus. Her long beef with Funky made her commentary inevitable. Tamar's nightmare wasn't just tragic. It was classic Funky. Survival first, loyalty second, empathy non-existent. And of course, fans started threading the clues. Old clips of Funky shading Tasha resurfaced, now stitched to his Tamar chatter like courtroom evidence. The storyline practically wrote itself. Tamar as the battered victim, Funky as the jealous hater, and Tasha as the prophecy speaker who warned us. Every little side-eye Funky threw at Tamar's birthday party suddenly looked sinister when viewed through the lens of his feud with Tasha. So here's the gag. Tamar's suffering set the stage, but the juiciest subplot is Funky and Tasha's never-ending Cold War stealing the spotlight. Out in public again, Tamar didn't just gain a supporter in Tasha K, she picked up an ally with unfinished business. And baby, when old grudges get fresh fuel, the blaze always roars hotter. But hold up, let's tap the brakes. Cause while the internet already crowned Funky the villain and Tasha the bold truth teller, the tea is messier than that. What if, and stay with me here, both of them are messy in their own lanes. First, let's clock Tasha K. We all know sis's track record, she pushes limits. Remember that Cardi B lawsuit? The $4 million judgment still hanging like a storm cloud. And truth be told, Tasha has a rep for blasting stories before the ink on the receipts is even dry. That's literally her brand spill first, fact check later. So is it possible she's just projecting her own Funky beef onto Tamar's crisis? Absolutely. She's been yelling for years that Funky despises women, especially successful black women. But child, sometimes a side eye is just a side eye. Maybe Funky was bitter about losing the spotlight. Maybe the man was bloated. Either way, blowing it into a grand conspiracy might just be Tasha doing Tasha, making herself the star of someone else's movie. Now, flip the coin. Funky ain't off the hook either. His response to Tamar's health scare? Frostbite cold. Calling her the lady instead of his friend Tamar didn't feel supportive. It felt detached at best, and shady as hell at worst. And the way Funky sprinted into alibi mode, dropping times, spots, menus, faces sounded less like concern for Tamar, and more like he was patching his own story. Fans weren't wrong to side-eye that. If your girl says she woke up drowning in blood, you don't hop online bragging. Well, child, I hit BJ Rooster, smashed some cabbage, and went home. You check on her. You defend her. His whole energy screamed, protect me first, empathy later. So here's the devil's advocate take. If Tasha K is wrong, then she hijacked Tamar's pain to reignite her old Funky grudge. That makes her look opportunistic, inserting herself into drama she didn't need to carry. Tamar's tragedy becomes a pawn in Tasha's never-ending war with Funky. If Funky's wrong, then jealousy and ego really did hijack his friendship, leaving Tamar stranded while he guarded his own reputation. That would prove Tasha's been right all along. Funky can't support women without making it about himself. And here's the gag, both can be true at the same time. Tasha could be exploiting Tamar's ordeal for clout, while Funky is also guilty of being the shady, self-absorbed friend she's been warning about. Two truths colliding only double the chaos. And that's why this whole circus feels less like a whodunit and more like a why are y'all both like this? Tamar deserved way more than being turned into ammo for a feud older than her latest headline. So let's stop tiptoeing and hit the hard questions. Tamar Braxton, why are you always dead center in chaos? Why is your so-called bestie a gossip blogger in the first place? And why is the same Tamar who Tony herself once called spoiled and sheltered running the streets with Funky Dineva like y'all some high schoolers chasing clicks? Because let's be honest, sis, you're supposed to be music royalty. That voice alone should have you booked, busy, and untouchable. You should be sitting at the grown folks table with legends, not trending for birthday dinners, missing teeth, and sparring with YouTubers. Yet here we are, your name tangled up in Funky's edible alibis and Tasha K's vendettas. That's not coincidence, child, that's a pattern. It's one thing for Funky to be shady, that's his shtick. And for Tasha to be loud, that's her hustle. But what's Tamar's excuse? You let them drag you straight into the mud. You open the door, let them sit at your table, and then when the smoke blows, you play victim like you just woke up in a blood-soaked scene. But sis, you are the common denominator. You put yourself in that chaos. So ask yourself, if you really are the star you say, why don't you have a list allies? Bianca ain't calling Funky Dineva for a Dr. Heavenly referral? Child, be serious. Mary J. Blige ain't handing Tasha K the mic to be her mouthpiece. But Tamar? She keeps orbiting those gossip blog galaxies like she's one viral meltdown away from becoming content herself. And guess what? That's exactly what went down. Now here's the gut punch. Tamar had choices. She could have let her voice, her catalog, her testimony carry her higher. Instead, she leaned into antics, let bloggers become her inner circle. And now her career headlines read more like YouTube beefs than Billboard stats. Even in this Funky fiasco, she didn't stay poised, didn't move with grace. She stirred it. She's complicit. So yeah, Funky might have lied, might have been jealous, might have left her hanging. And Tasha might have flipped her pain into another Cardi-style crusade. But Tamar, sis, you volunteered for this circus. You opened the tent, invited the clowns, and now the headline act is chaos. Please, that's the legacy check. Tamar ain't just collateral in other people's drama, she's drafting her own downfall. And the real gag, she's too gifted for this mess. She's got a God-given voice, but keeps cashing out on gossip. The longer she plays, the faster people forget her vocals and remember her only as a walking